Welcome to Destination Deanna. I'm Deanna, love guide to all and kept wife strategist to the women I'm called to serve. Please consider my channel your self-help learning library for love. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for our weekly coaching gem, where I give guidance to elevate your love experience. And on Wednesdays at 1 p.m., tune in for Sounds About Wife, where I give my unique wife perspective and prepare professional women like you to become kept wives. So hit that subscribe button and let's start this love journey together. See you soon, my loves. Welcome to the live book reading of Break Up Now, Releasing the Shame of Divorce and Finding the Peace in Letting Go. I'm so excited to be here. I've been thinking about this for probably the past month, if not more. Hey, Alice, Kepty Alice, thank you so much. Good afternoon. So let's get right into it, right? This birthday, I decided I'm not just going to be blowing out candles and, doing all of the things. I'm going to be blowing up shame, right? Shame is one of the lowest energy levels. And I really feel called to disrupt the system when it comes to that. So I'm not just older today. I'm actually freer. And instead of a party, I decided to invite you into one of my most sacred and pivotal moments in my life. So I'm going to read parts of the book today, but I'm really going to share the parts that cost me something to actually write. So stay with me to the end, because this won't just be a celebration. It's actually a release. And for some of you, I believe it is the release that you actually need. So I want to start by anchoring our time together. While this is the live reading of the book, I want to set the stage here. So our anchor scripture is actually going to be John 8:36. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. Ooh, that feels good, right? This verse isn't just passive, right? It is a proclamation. We are not meant to carry the guilt, judgment, or spiritual shame that others place on us, right? Jesus did not come to secure eternity. Not just that. He also came to restore us in the present. So I want to be clear about this book. It's not just about divorce. Yes, that is covered. Yes, it is a big part of the why. But this book is also about discernment, right? It's about the weight of shame, especially religious shame, and how it silently eats away at our identity, right? So this book is what I needed when I couldn't pray anymore, when I couldn't cry out anymore, and when I couldn't even admit that I was in the wrong place. So I want to begin this reading by showing you exactly where I was when I finally cried out to God. And this is in the introduction part of the book. It's titled, Does God Always Hate Divorce? Just to kind of give you a little bit of setup, this letter to God opens the book, right? That's why it's in the introduction part. And I honestly didn't plan to share this. The book was pretty much written and I was just doing my own kind of release in our home, as I was preparing, because there's a lot of spiritual things that go into when you are called to steward over a message and like speak and teach people. So I was preparing our living space. I was preparing my energy. And as I was clearing things out, I found the old journal that actually had this letter in it. And when I read it, I mean, it transported me back into time. I felt all the emotions again. And God was like, you have to put this in the book. This is how the book starts. Reluctantly, I was obedient. So here it goes, right? This is titled, and this is what I wrote, My Prayer for Closure. And it was written in August of 2020. God, I do not have the strength to leave or end this marriage, but I want out. I feel trapped in a situation that is going nowhere. I always feel like I get further away from you and your will for my life, and I hate it. I'm angry every day. My husband says I'm negative, and that breaks my heart. I'm this way because he has betrayed my trust and let me down so many times. I do not respect him because he is okay working me to death and allowing me to carry all of the financial responsibility of the family. I cannot count on him as a reliable partner. He is just a burden, financially and emotionally. He doesn't consistently help with the kids. I feel like it was easier when I was alone. I absolutely hate it. I'm always stressed. God, please help me. Please free me from this relationship. Please provide for me so I can survive without any help. Comfort my kids and help them readjust. Make things easy for them. Give me the mental capacity to plan and budget so I can thrive and save for my home and investments. Keep me focused at work. Heal my heart and help me accept that we are not a good fit for a lifetime and we shouldn't have gotten married. Please free me. Thank you. Amen. Ooh. That was my breaking point. But it was also the beginning of a breakthrough, right? It's one thing to want out. It's another thing to finally surrender the illusion that you can't fix it on your own. And I'm sorry, I'm going to try to keep up with y'all comments. Hey, Bree, thank you so much. So, man, I'm not even, listen, I'm going where the Spirit leads me, okay? The next section I was going to read is from chapter 4. And it is, what if you're just repeating a pattern? I'll never forget the moment my daughter Shelby looked me in my face and asked the question that just absolutely shattered me, right? It was so innocent, but it was so revealing. So I'm going to read directly from the book now. We like to think we're hiding it well. The frustration, the fake smiles, the hopelessness we stuff down between school drop-offs and after church hugs. But the truth, children always know. You may be shielding them from the arguments. You may be cooking the meals, attending the recitals, saying all the right things. But energy doesn't lie. And dysfunction can't be concealed, not even from a toddler. This is something I learned the hard way. It wasn't a church sermon. It wasn't a therapy session. It was a single innocent question from my 4-year-old daughter that cracked the illusion wide open. The question I wasn't ready for. We were still in the first year of our marriage, and already I was exhausted, working overtime to pay the bills, holding the house together, parenting two little ones while my husband seemed content to play outside, literally and figuratively. I kept telling myself that I could fake it until we made it. I was convinced that I was doing the right thing by staying, that it was noble to suffer in silence for the children. But one day, I was working from home, so I had my door closed. He was watching the kids. Shelby knocked on my door and asked for a hug. Sort of annoyed, I gave her a hug, but I was wondering why he wasn't keeping them entertained so I could work in peace. As I tried to rush her along, Shelby, I have to get back to work, honey. She hesitated to walk away, and with all the innocence in the world, she asked me the question I wasn't ready for. Mommy, why do you have to work all the time while daddy gets to go outside and play? Wow. Even a 4-year-old could see the imbalance. She didn't have the adult language, but in her very own way, she let me know that she saw the difference in how I was showing up and what her father was doing. I couldn't even answer her. Not because I didn't have the words, but because the words I had would shatter everything I was trying to pretend was still together. That was the moment. That was when I realized that staying for the kids wasn't protecting them. It was exposing them. I broke up with that excuse that day. That was the moment I knew my marriage wasn't just affecting me, right? It was affecting what my daughter thought was normal. And that's when I think I made a vow to myself, right? Not just to break up with the man or break up from the marriage, but to break up with the version of me that settled for that. Ooh, this is emotional. Ooh, I thought I was just going to read some pages to y'all and but begging God, please listen. Asking God to help get you out. That's when you're desperate, right? Until you mature and you get to a place where you don't need desperation to call out to God. You become, one with him. So he's just always a part of things. That's later. So, I don't just want to kind of give you all the deep things. I do want to share, a little piece of, the part that reminds me that I didn't just survive. I didn't just survive, right? This is the first page of the book, and it's the dedication, right? It's not to the past. It's actually proof that love, real transformational love, where you are kept, it can still find you after loss, after breaking up. So this is the dedication of my book, Break Up Now. To Will, my tried and true husband. My courage to break up was not only the inspiration for this book, it was the catalyst for the change in my life that made you possible. Thank you for loving me as I heal. There's a silver lining, right? There's a rainbow at the end of the storm. And that's the type of love that awaits you when you break up with the illusion that you're protecting, right? In a marriage that is not fruitful, that is not healthy for all parties involved, that does not reflect the love of God, right? So this book started with me, at rock bottom, but it ends with the restoration I couldn't even picture back then. This isn't just a story about divorce. This is a story about love, God's love, my kids' love, and eventually a love that knew how to cover me the way I had always covered everyone else. So let me share with you what's in the book, right? What you can expect. Break Up Now isn't just, small parts memoir. Yes, it has some of my personal stories and all of that, but most of it is a manual. So inside the book, I actually walk you through scriptural healing that untangles the religious guilt and misused verses that have kept you bound, including the why God hates divorce has been weaponized instead of rightly divided, right? The book, I also walk you through like a discernment plan to help you determine if a breakup is actually your breakthrough, right? Including the emotional, spiritual, and logistical steps I wish someone had given me, right? I also give you a life after love strategy because your story doesn't end when the relationship does, right? I teach you how to rebuild your confidence, reset your beliefs, and receive the love that's been waiting for the real you to show up. So whether you are stuck in something that doesn't honor God, or you're still carrying guilt from something you already left, this book is for you. So because I'm the Kept Wife Strategist, I always want to help you shift your perspective. And I always share my Kepty lens, right? This is the mindset and the perspective shift necessary for you to align with transformational love in your life, right? I want you to go from I failed because I divorced to I honored God by letting go of what didn't. That's the shift, right? We were taught that staying means strength and leaving is weakness or giving up. But sometimes staying is actually just a trauma response or your default, which is survival mode. Sometimes breaking up is the most God-honoring thing that you'll ever do. So here's the strategy, right? Here's what you can do next, right? For the woman who may still be like in a marriage but wrestling with peace, here's a couple of things that you could do, right? Some practical tips. You can write your own love letter to God. Don't censor it though. Just say what's on your heart. Pay attention to your children's emotional feedback, right? That's often the truest mirror. And third, you can ask yourself, if my daughter repeated this dynamic, would I feel proud or heartbroken? Now, for the woman who is already divorced, but still bound emotionally or spiritually, here's what I recommend. Start journaling your wins, right? Even the small ones. Stop explaining why it ended. You don't need to defend your peace. This was huge for me. And then third, surround yourself with voices that speak to your healed identity, not your broken history. So there's the strategy. I hope that helps. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions about the book, about what's in there, what's included, my personal story? This is your time I've allocated just to kind of be an open book, if you will. What are the questions that you may have? I've covered a lot. While I kind of give you a couple of moments to like type out your questions, I'm just kind of going to close everything out like and give you just my summary, right? It's important for me to say that I didn't write or release this book to get revenge, right? I didn't write this book to bash anyone. I have repeatedly said, you're not going to see me speaking negatively about my first husband. He is my children's biological father. And I honor what we shared, right? It was still a sacred relationship, and I will always hold it as such. The greatest gift was given to me in that experience because it brought me to where I am now, right? The woman I am now is because of all that I went through, right? So I'm not holding any animosity. It's none of that, right? I wrote it because women like me, the woman I was then, and the women that I help now, we usually stay too long. And then we suffer in silence after we leave. So I wrote it because no one told us that breaking up could actually be just as sacred as getting married, right? So I want this to be a permission slip to women. If you are still breathing, that means God still intends to heal you. Okay. So go read your letter to God. Make sure you pick up a copy. And let me go to the comments. Ooh, I'm a little triggered. I didn't see that, Bree. Triggered how? Triggered how? What is triggering you? What are you feeling? Sheesh. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of things in this book. I mean, it's my book. It's my story, right? And still reading it for me is very emotional. Very emotional. It still triggers things in me. Alice, what inspired you to share your journey and steps toward healing? Ooh. I just totally feel that nothing we go through is just for us, whether it is for your children, the women you meet, people you come across. Like, we're all connected, right? We're all a part of God's kingdom. So I just have always felt compelled to teach, coach, guide. And I have just found that the things that were the most difficult for me, the things that had the most pain, that's what helped people the most, right? The things that I didn't want to share, the things I didn't want to talk about because I was embarrassed. God showed me, like, if you're called to teach, if you're called to guide and you feel this way about it, imagine how many other women who don't have that calling on their life, who need your story. They need you to talk about this. They need you to not let the enemy win and keep you in shame and guilt. So that's what inspired me, just knowing that all of this pain can be worth it. Worth it if one woman reads this book and is like, yo, completely changed the trajectory of my life reading that. Right? And then how fast do you think you would have left? Had I had this book, or do you mean that? Is it, had I had this book, how fast do you think you would have left, healed, and found your keeper? I mean, I feel like I left a lot sooner than most women because we were only married for a year when I made the decision. Now, we have been together for 6 years prior to that. So it wasn't like, oh, a year, I'm out. It was a buildup. It was, things that I had saw before we even got married. But I don't know if I'm understanding your question, but I'm going to assume that you're saying, had I had this book, or had I known what I know now, how fast would I have left? I wouldn't have got married if I knew what I knew now. Right? I would have broke up sooner. I would have broke up before children were involved. I would have broke up way sooner, knowing what I know now, which is why I share it. Obviously everything is a blessing, right? My children are a blessing. Everything that I've been through, I've learned and I've grown from, and I've learned to really appreciate it. But I mean, I would not be telling the truth if I didn't say that I don't wonder, like, how much further along in life, what would my path be if I didn't do this, right? If I didn't need to learn from these things and I just avoided these things. Now, what's for me is for me, and I'm going to have it, right? And I'm having a beautiful life now, and there's more to come. But I do wonder that. And if I can just assist a few women from having to make, the same mistakes that I made and avoid some of these things, man, I'm happy. Okay, cool. I'm glad I answered that. So I don't see any other questions. It is my birthday. So as much as I love y'all and everything, if there ain't no questions, thank you for spending my birthday with me. But even more, thank you for honoring like yourself, your own healing. Oh, excuse me. There's dust because my mom is cleaning up because she loves me so much and knows I didn't want to clean up. So may you break up with what's breaking you, right? Say yes to the woman that you are destined to become. Break Up Now is officially available. The pre-sale began today. And I have a goal of selling 100 copies on day one. For those of you who are not aware of this statistic, 90% of self-published authors only sell 100 books in their book's lifetime. I'm sorry, don't even sell 100 books in their book's lifetime. 90%. I have influence. I be on here teaching y'all every week for years. I'm putting out this book because I want to increase my impact. I may not be able to coach every woman that would need my coaching. I may not reach them. But with this book, it is my sincerest intention that I can have a greater impact because the message can get to more people all at once. So please help me do that. Visit destinationdeanna.com and get your Break Up Now bundle, right? Be a part of my mission, not to sell 43. Devil, you are a liar. 100 books today. Be a part of my mission, right? Go get you a bundle. If you don't personally need this book, please think of someone who does. Send it to them. Send the link to them. Tag people in my Facebook post. Send them the replay of this video so they will understand what is in the book, right? They can understand what they stand to get, right? So thank you so much for your time. I will see you all on Monday for our next walk and talk love lesson. And Wednesday, I will be returning with our regularly scheduled show, Sounds About Wife. We are in season 2, episode 3. So I will see you Monday and Wednesday of next week for my lives. All right. I love you all. Have a great day.